In this video, we will continue with the discussion of specimen question paper of 2022. We will dive into section 2 and 3, tackling key MCQs on factors of production, demand, supply, and markets. Perfect prep for your upcoming exams. Let's start. Question 26 is, the price of a commodity goes up from rupees 26 to rupees 30 as a result of which demand falls from 4 units to 2 units. The price elasticity of demand is. So you should remember your formula. Your elasticity of demand is percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. Children always make a mistake of interchanging these two. Please pay attention to this. Your quantity is the numerator and price is the denominator. Now this is your old, this is your new, this is your old, this is your new. So it means the formula would be for percentage change in quantity demanded, new minus old divided by old. So you have 2 minus 4 divided by 4 into 100. The whole thing you have new minus old, 30 minus 26 divided by 26 into 100. And when you will solve this, you will get something like this. Minus 2 upon 4 into 26 by 4. And the answer will come out to be 3.25. You will always ignore the minus sign in looking at this value. So this 3.25 is the correct answer, which is your option number 2. And also remember that when you are looking at whether the demand is elastic or inelastic, if you have to write that in the answer, in this case we don't have to write, but in case you need to write, you have to pay attention to the absolute value, which is 3.25, which is actually greater than 1, means it is relatively elastic demand. This is not asked here, but I'm just doing that also so that you revise it. Your next question is, which of the following statements are true? So you have the cost of production will increase if the government gives subsidies, the firm uses obsolete technology, the prices of diesel increases. Now the correct answer in this option is only 2 and 3. Why? 1 is false. It is false because what happens? If the government gives subsidies, it generally reduces the cost of production for firms, as subsidies are financial support which are meant to lower expenses. Second one is true. Why? Because using obsolete technology tends to increase the cost of production due to inefficiencies. Third one would be also true, because increase in the price of diesel means it's an input cost. This will also raise the cost of production. Okay, now let's go to next question, question 28. According to me, this is a very good question, because if you look at this, I would highly recommend pause the video right now and go through this question. Try to do it on your own. If you are able to do this on your own, it means the whole concept of change in quantity demanded or supplied is clear to you. Now, when you are looking at this question, what do? First of all, you have to look at whether the change is happening due to change in price or some non-price factor. Okay, so now first let's go step by step. Now, if I look at the first one, which is extension of supply. Now, extension of supply occurs when there is a rise in prices, which will lead to an increase in the quantity supplied. So it means your first extension of supply would be due to rise in prices. So this is the first one. Second one is decrease in supply. Now this is a bit complicated, but it's a very good understanding you need for this. Okay. Now the question is decrease in supply. It means decrease in supply will occur when there is some other non-price factor. Now we are looking at here prices which are expected to rise or fall in the future. So please pay attention. This is not your present fall or rise in price. This is price is expected to fall or rise in the future. Now when you look at decrease in supply, the answer would be C. Yes? Could you do that? Now why? Why price decrease in supply is due to price is expected to rise in future. What happens? The producers, when they expect the prices to rise in the future, it means they would like to reduce the present supply of their commodities. They would actually hoard their products because they will wait for the prices to rise in future and then only bring the supply to the market. I hope this is clear. This is a bit complicated, but it is very logical. Okay, so if you understand it carefully, it will become easier. So prices are expected to rise in future will cause the present decrease in supply. Third question is contraction of supply. That is simple. That will be your B. Why? Because it occurs due to a fall in price, reducing the quantity supplied. The last option is increase in supply, which will be matching with A, when prices are expected to fall in future. Now, why? Increase in present supply can happen when prices are expected to fall in the future, because producers would like to avoid losses in the future. So what they would feel, that if prices are expected to fall in future, let's bring the supply to the market now and sell at higher prices as much as possible. I hope this is clear. So if you look at this, it means the correct answer to this question would be option number 4. Okay, this is a bit tricky, but based on total concepts. So if you know your concept well, you should be able to do this easily. If X and Y are complementary goods, a rise in the price of Y will cause the demand curve of X. 2. What is the answer? Pause the video, try. Imagine two products, goods X and Y, which should be complementary. So always keep one example of complementary goods in your head and one example of substitutes in your head. So whenever you get these type of questions, actually you should take that example and try to understand what will happen. So suppose you have complementary goods, bread and butter. So let's assume bread is X and butter is Y. Now what will happen? In the case of bread, if they are complementary goods, a rise in the price of Y. So means price of butter, if it rises, the demand of butter, which is good Y, will go down, which will also lead to demand of X to go down or up. It will go down, will cause the demand curve to shift to the left. This is one good way to analyze these type of answers in the exam. This way you don't have to rote learn anything. You just have to look at this. You can draw your own conclusion and you will never be wrong. So when two goods are complementary, a rise in the price of one good will make the other good less attractive to consumer, and both goods are typically consumed together. So this results in a decrease in the demand for X, causing the demand curve for X shifting to the left. I hope this helps. Next question is, which of the following statements are true? Monopolistically competitive markets have high selling costs. Monopolistically competitive markets sell homogeneous goods. Any firm can start a business in a monopolistically competitive market. Now, this is something, if you know the features of all the markets, it should be easy for you. Now, the correct answer in this case would be which one? The correct answer would be the second one or third one. The correct answer would be third one. Why? Because if you look at the first one, first statement is true. How? These markets typically have high selling costs due to the need for advertising and differentiating their products from competitors. Which type of market is monopolistic market? Think of an example. Take shampoos. Now in that case, you need to convince the consumer to buy your product. So you are going to advertise your product, and your shampoo might have something different from the other shampoos. So you will incur high selling costs. Now because of that, you already know that your product is going to be differentiated. It's not homogeneous. Shampoos are differentiated products. They are not homogeneous goods. So this statement is false. And the third one is true. This is also true. The reason is there are low barriers to entry in a monopolistically competitive market, meaning that any firm can start a business in this type of market. There are no restrictions. There is no natural monopoly. There's no high cost. There is no reservation by the government usually in these type of markets. So the option would be 1 and 3, which are correct. Okay, question number 31. Land is heterogeneous because it varies in fertility, it varies in productivity, it varies in density of population. Now, let's look at it. Fertility and productivity are key reasons why land is considered heterogeneous, because different plots of land, they have varying capabilities in terms of water availability, soil richness, and even overall productivity for agriculture or other uses. But if you look at density of population, it is related to human factors, not the natural heterogeneity of land itself. Hence, third one is not applicable. Yes, so not applicable. So what is the correct answer then? Second one. Only 1 and 2 are applicable. Next question is, a relatively inelastic supply curve implies, first option is there's no change in price, but quantity supplied changes. Now, if you remember your definitions well, or your understanding of what is a relatively elastic curve or a relatively inelastic curves, you will understand a relatively inelastic supply curve would imply third answer. A large change in price brings about a small change in quantity supplied. What do you mean by that? That a relatively inelastic supply curve means that the quantity supplied is not very responsive to changes in price. So therefore, even if there is a significant change in price, the change in the quantity supplied will be small. And always remember, when you are drawing these curves, if you have price here and you have quantity supplied here, remember how your curves are. So supply curve should touch the axis and it will touch something like this. So this is a bit steeper. So this will be the curve for your relatively inelastic supply curve. Okay, so I hope this helps and you remember this concept. So when you're practicing these type of chapters, make sure that you're drawing all the 5 types together, all the diagrams together. It would help you a lot. Question 33rd. An increase in the price of electricity will cause an increase in the demand for solar heaters, decrease in the demand for solar heaters, increase in the demand for geysers, none of the above. The answer would be increase in the demand for solar heaters. Why? Because increase in the price of electricity is increasing, it will make consumers look for alternative energy sources because they want to reduce their electricity consumption. Now, solar heaters do not rely on electricity, which will become a more attractive option, leading to an increase in their demand. So the first option would be the correct one. Next question is, which of these will not be considered as capital? Now, what do you think? The answer would be, is it stationery owned by you as a student, or stationery owned by a firm, or stationery owned by the government? Or do you think all the 3 options will be considered capital? Actually, the answer would be the first one. Why? Because what is capital? Capital refers to assets used in the production of goods and services. They are man-made durable goods we use in the process of production. Now, stationery owned by a firm or the government can be considered capital because it is used for business or government activities. But however, stationery owned by you as a student is typically for personal use and not for producing goods and services. So it would not be considered capital. Now, the last question in section 2 is, what will the following cause? Now, in this, what you need to understand first is that what is happening here. If you look at prices changing from 10 to 20, so price is increasing, and we also look at which is leading to supply also increasing. Yes, so this means price is causing the supply to change. So this could be a case of change in quantity supplied, movement along the supply curve. This is not the case of shifts in supply curve. So first of all, whenever you get these type of questions, identify whether there is a price change or no. Whenever supply or demand is changing on the right side, you should look at the left side in the price column and check whether there is a price change or not. If there is a price change, then it means this is a case of extension or contraction. If there wouldn't have been any price change, if it would have been 10 and 10, let's say, and there is still a supply change, then it means this change is due to non-price factors. Okay, so that would have been the case of shifts in the supply curve, upward or downward. So in our case, in this present case, the answer would be extension of supply curve, because supply is increasing due to increase in the price. And it's a case of change in quantity supplied. I hope till here we are clear. These are quite good questions, like which will cover these 4-5 topics. You can use these questions as revision, and it will help you to clarify your concepts further. Okay, now let's continue to section 3. Now, if you read this passage, you can take your time and read it, but I'm just directly going to the questions. So the first question in this passage is, which of these will not be considered labor in economics? So the correct answer would be the fourth one. Why? Because first one is saying a carpenter making a table, which is again, so labor is what? In economics, labor refers to work performed for a productive purpose, typically in exchange for payment or as a part of the production process. So you are doing something in expectation of being paid. Now, if you look at the first 3 options, they are all showing us that productive activity which is in lieu of some payment. Virat Kohli playing cricket for India, surgeon performing in operation. But the last option is an auto driver dropping his daughter to school. It will be not considered as labor in economics. This is easy. The next one is productivity of labor takes into consideration. Now, when you are learning these definitions from these chapters of factors of production, please make note of those key features or keywords which you should mention in the definition. If you look at productivity of labor definition, you will find that all 3 options, quality of work done, quantity of work done, quantity of work produced, and the time taken to complete the work, all these 3 factors contribute to assess how efficiently labor is being utilized in the production process. So it means all of the above would be the correct option for this one. Next one is, which of these will improve the efficiency of Indian labor? Now, if you look at all these options, it's an easy question. Obviously, the first one should be the correct option, because they are saying irregular wages, uncooperative management. They sound negative. So proper educational facilities, they improve the efficiency of Indian labor by enhancing their skill, knowledge, productivity. These 2 would rather reduce labor efficiency, as they will create dissatisfaction among the workers. Next question is, which of the following statements are true? Okay, so you have labor of a country is important because it helps to exploit the natural resources of a country. This is true, isn't it? Labor is essential in exploiting and utilizing a country's natural resources. The second one is, it helps to raise the GDP of an economy. Definitely, this is also true, because labor contributes directly to production, which helps to raise the GDP of an economy. The third one is, it also creates a demand for various goods and thereby determines production. This is also true. This is a true statement, because labor is the one who will create demand for goods and services, which will influence your production decisions in the economy. So it means all the 3 are correct. So the correct answer would be the fourth one, all 1, 2, and 3. Now the last question is that the supply of labor is considered peculiar because, what do you think is the answer? Now, what this question is related is to your backward bending supply curve of labor. I hope you remember, you must have studied something like this kind of a curve, Yes, as labor increases, as the wage rate, so you have wages here and you have number of hours worked here. So this is backward bending supply curve we are talking about here. So the supply of labor is considered peculiar due to this backward bending supply curve of labor. What happens here, that initially as wages increase, people are willing to supply more labor. However, beyond a certain wage level, workers may prioritize leisure over additional income, leading to a decrease in labor supply even if wages continue to rise. So beyond a point, people want to have some time for their families, entertainment, all those things. So in this case, the option would be second. The supply of labor is considered peculiar because it cannot be increased. No, it increases as the wage rate increases, but later it decreases even if the wage rate increases. So this is the concept behind it. The third and fourth options also don't fit into this. They are not peculiar, they are normal things. Okay, but the second one is where humans behave peculiarly, that when wages are increasing beyond a point, even if we increase the wage rate, people will not tend to work more as the wages increases because they want some time for themselves. I hope this paper helped you. These are good MCQs which will be covered, which are related to your first 4-5 units, and this is good for revision.
Wish you all the good luck. Do well. You can follow and subscribe to my channel to get more useful videos related to economics. Bye.